don't care what the fucking venue is. I don't care if it's Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, or Teletype. If there's somebody there, I'm going to be where they are. Guys, Bay, Nerd Chuck is in the building. What's up, man?
Life is good, man. Thanks for having me. You know how pumped I am I'm doing the show.
My man Taz Daddy!
Yes, sir. To make millions for other people, I can make millions for
Year in, year out, he not a rookie. He a man of many hats and different skills. Give him any struggle in business and watch he make it build. Hard to believe, and please check the resume. Best-selling author and showcase on Ebony. 2-time Southern Entertainment Award winner.
Well, all right. I hope all is well in your world. It is yours truly, the Mohawk and Real Talking, Living Fully Business Fully, Dave Anderson, out here doing what I do, snapping necks, cashing checks. Woo! Tonight, we're going to have a good conversation, people. We're going to talk about blackness. We're going to talk about growth. We're going to talk about doing for self. We're going to talk about school development. We're going to talk about curriculum. We're going to talk about education. Oh, we're going to have a phenomenal conversation. And, let me know where you at. Let me know where you're checking in from, because the individual I'm bringing up to the stage is someone that I am a very, very huge proponent of. I have been talking about this young man ever since I saw him ether Roland Martin on his own program, which, I mean, not for nothing, make me kind of happy. Ladies and gentlemen, the founder of the X for Boys, an education advocate, a phenomenal individual, and a credit to his race, the one and only King Randall's in the building. What's up, brother?
What's going on, boss? How you doing?
Man, I'm trying to be like you when I grow up.
No, don't do it. Do better than me.
Listen, I figure I could definitely make it happen, brother. Listen, I'm so proud of you, man. I got a daughter a little bit older than you. And when I tell you it does my soul good to see you making things happen with no excuses, doing for self, taking on responsibilities that, most people just don't have the balls to do so, man. Like, listen, man, I salute you. I got to give you your flowers, man, for real.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
So let's talk a little bit about how you got here. Like, how in the world did you because when I was in my 20s, I was only thinking about a couple of things.
Hey, I get it. I think about those things too, man. But, hey, look, I got kids that, are more important to me. So I'd rather work now and play later, and then rather than play now and then work later. So I'd rather go ahead and get that work in while I got the energy.
I can dig it. So, like, what made you decide to take this on? Like, what sparked this whole, responsibility in your spirit to just, start the X for Boys? How did we get here?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I started the program when I was 19 years old, back in 2019. And I started this program because where I live in Albany, Georgia, we were at one point the fourth poorest city in the United States. And right now we're, extremely high for the crime rate. But the crime rate is, being perpetuated, and elevated by young men, ages like 19 to 24, 18, 16, all these teenagers and young adults are committing these crimes. So every time somebody dies, we're going to have a stop the violence meeting, but nobody actually wants to get out and do these particular things, that require us to be solution. So I just decided I was going to take some kids on a field trip and take them to a history museum, and I was just going to start from there. So I took some kids to the African American History Museum in Atlanta, and from there I got started seeing the questions that the children were asking, seeing how much they wanted to, learn more and do more. That's how I, really got into working with the children. Then I started teaching them how to work on cars. I taught them automotive repair. I did oil change workshops, brake change workshops. I, make little flyers on my phone, print them out at the local library, and I, go around the city, posting them up, taking them to football practices, basketball practices, you name it, going to barbershops, putting them up, and, I would recruit kids from there to be able to come to the different workshops. And to, see the children get so excited after they receive their certificates for the workshops, because I always bring certificates for them, to be able to put on the wall and things like that, to be proud of themselves, to see them, get so excited about, accomplishing something that, they may not be good at school, but they found out something that they could do and they feel important. And some of them feel worthless because nobody just teaches them how to do anything, especially little simple things that I learned how to do growing up. So from there, I did a summer camp out of my house. I lost my job, and I decided I was going to do a little summer camp at home. And, it was beautiful to see. I asked my kids' mom, could we, have some kids at the house? And I had 20 kids that entire summer of 2019. At my house, I got a little small dry erase board, and I got some little tables in my little dining room, and I made it happen. I taught every day. We read every day. We did Black History. We were just I was teaching them how to work on cars. We were gardening, taught them how to grow their own food, etc. Doing different things for our kids, and teaching them how to change ceiling fans, toilets. I mean, you name it. We were doing so many things that summer. And what struck me was when we were reading, realizing how many of them couldn't read. That was the biggest issue to me. I'm asking them, how are you guys in high school? You guys can't read and write like at all. That's an absolute travesty. And these kids are graduating high school and they can't read. So I was like, well, I'm going to start you guys in school one day. I don't know how I'm doing it, but we're going to figure it out. So fast forward, I started my book club, teaching the boys every week how to read. We have an 86% reading comprehension rating. I'm actually still in the building now. We just got finished with one of our book clubs. But, just teaching them different vocabulary words every week, reading with them, trying to get their reading comprehension levels up, because a lot of them, they can sound out words, but they don't realize what they've read after they finish reading. So just trying to get them reading fluently and things like that. And, of course, COVID happened. And COVID kind of stopped everything that, we were doing back in 2020. So I had to kind of put everything on pause. And then at that point, parents were still asking me to do things regardless of COVID. So I was like, well, if I'm going to do something, these kids got to come live in my house. So I had got some bunk beds, put in my living room, made it happen. I had 7 kids come live with me for the summer of 2020. We went to a farm every day and we worked. We worked in an old apartment complex. We learned how to do sheetrocking. We learned how to lay carpet, you name it. We were doing so many things. But during that time, during the summer, I had just started posting on Twitter. People were asking me to make a Twitter account because I had been, posting here and there on Facebook and Instagram, but I actually wasn't posting as much as I should have been posting. And I started posting on social media, and one day on Twitter, somebody saw what I was doing and retweeted, and it went viral. Me doing the boys with some sheetrock. We was teaching how to do sheetrock. It went viral, and people started finding out about me from there. Then we got invited to the White House, and like ever since then, we've skyrocketed. In our popularity. People from all over the world, have recognized the program and the things that we've been doing in the city of Albany, Georgia. So right now, just fast forwarding all the way here. This past summer, I had 40 boys come live at my grandmother's house. My grandmother has a pretty big home. So we had 36 kids for the entire summer of 2021, teaching them. I bought a school bus for them. So we had a school bus. So we did field trips. So we've been to all the Black History museums you could think of. We were at my grandmother's house. I was teaching them how to, work on cars. We were doing different workshops, teaching them how to, work on ceiling fans, things like that. I mean, whatever I could possibly think of. They did welding, had people come in and teach them firearms training, just many different things for our boys to learn. And that's what I was doing this past summer. And during that summer, I was able to purchase our school buildings. We have 3 buildings here in the city of Albany on more impoverished side of town. And I really got it on this side of town. So that way those students, from the projects could actually just walk here instead of having their parents having to bring them here. And we were actually trying to buy a actual school from our local school system. But that fell through. We kind of got into a big shebang with them about trying to purchase the school building, and that fell through. But God makes everything happen for a reason. So it's kind of like a just everything all pushed together about the Expo Boys and who I am and what we do.
Right now, so you've gotten 3 buildings, is what you said.
Sir.
Three buildings. 2 questions just to follow up. How much money did you raise, and how long did it take you to secure those buildings?
We started raising money last summer, the summer of 2020. We raised up to maybe $140,000 originally. So we used 100 of that to buy 40 acres of land for our boys, because I want to teach them how to, live off the land. And we bought all 3 of our buildings for $75,000 here in Albany. It sits on 2 acres of land. We have a warehouse building, we have an office building, and we have a garage building, so we can do the workshops in one building. In the warehouse building, we can do like welding and things like that. In the office building, we have classroom settings for the kids to be able to learn. And we raised this money within a year, and we purchased the buildings within a year.
Okay, so let me make sure I'm getting this math right. So you had 100K, and you got 40 acres land, right? And then you bought the buildings. You said for what, 75K?
Yes, sir.
So 3 buildings, 75K, 100K, 40 acres of land, and you're teaching people. I'm trying to see. This is why I'm having an issue, King Randall, because there's a guy out here in Philly, right? Well,
Mhm.
he's in Delaware now, but he's from Philly. And since you were like 10 years old, he's been talking about putting out a school, and he's raised at least $2 million, and there's no school. And I'm trying to figure out how a kid from Albany, Georgia, got this done. So is it just because you in the country and then they're just giving land away? Is it, like, what am I missing here? Like, is there some rigmarole? I'm trying to understand how a kid younger than my oldest child can figure this out, but a grown man with 6 degrees can't.
Well, I love Dr. Umar. I love him
Didn't
to
say you
death.
didn't. I'm
Yeah,
asking because I'm
yeah.
literally coming from an educational perspective.
No worries. Absolutely. I think where he and I differ is I didn't mind where I started. I
Mm,
think Dr. Umar is trying to start on a larger scale with more than so many children. And me, I kind of just want to get my ducks in a row before I jump out there and try to buy the biggest building, biggest campus and things like that. I'm going to start off with 50 students, and of
mhm,
course we'll grow from there. We have many people, that have pledged to donate, more money and things like that, for us to be able to get bigger buildings. But just like I've emphasized, I only want to start with 50 children because I want to get
mhm,
our ducks in a row, figure out how things are going to work, make sure my curriculum is going to work, make sure this is good for the parents. It'll be a boarding school. So I just want to make sure everything's working fluently first and then jump out there and take 400 or 500 kids. So
mm,
I'm just trying to get my ducks in a row, take baby steps, but a baby step for me may not be a baby step for him. So,
cool.
but he and I have talked, he plans to come, here and, work with our kids too. So, I don't like to quarrel, with our,
No, not at all.
yeah, in public. So I just, wherever we can help each other, I believe that's important. Or even like Tariq Nasheed, he doesn't like me for some odd reason. He thinks I'm an immigrant, but I love him to death still. I
You're an
follow him.
immigrant?
Yeah, he thinks I'm an immigrant. I told him I'm from Albany, Georgia, but he swears I'm from Nigeria or something.
Are
But
your parents from Nigeria?
nope, my parents were born right here in Albany, Georgia.
Are their parents from Nigeria?
No, I've ran my family ancestry. I have no ancestors from the Caribbean or anywhere.
Yeah.
All of my ancestors are descendants of slaves.
So
Like,
you're a foundational Black American, regardless of.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely. But
So.
but like I said, I just want to be able to have a phone conversation with them.
Mhm,
I express the fact that I don't want to argue about it. It is what it is. And I even donated to the museum because I ain't no hater. It is what it is. I believe it's important.
mhm,
So that's just something I feel like we should be doing, and those are phone conversations we can have. And Brother
mhm,
Reza Islam and I talked about it, and he was just
yeah.
saying he think it's better for us to talk about that offline because I never wanted to do that
Right.
publicly. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's definitely a high road approach to take, and I like it. But I'm going to tell you where I find so much pride in you personally. I look at people like Booker T. Washington, who started with a handful of students, and
that's what we're
look
reading right now. We're
look
reading
at
his book Up from Slavery.
up from slavery, right? The
Yeah.
Tuskegee,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ain't nobody, balking at Tuskegee right now. You feel me? Then
Yep.
I look at Mary McLeod Bethune, who started Bethune Cookman,
Yep.
right? 50
Mm-hmm.
kids. What's wrong with starting what's wrong with just starting where you are?
Absolutely. Starting where you are is extremely important. And that is something I say, again, I wouldn't have whatever I had within the first year or two, even if I had to get a little storefront, we're going to start something,
Right,
and, grow from there. And I believe in just growing. So like I said, everybody has their different strategies,
right.
but as for me, I believe in starting, and we raised enough money and I put some of my own money that I had with that, and we bought some buildings for our kids and we bought some land. And I think that's where we start. We buy some land, we get the school working, and we just make it happen with what we got.
Right.
And that's what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Reza Islam and I are very, very close. He's one of my best friends.
Awesome.
Just an amazing brother. Like when, he's one of these people that literally gets it how he lives. But I mean, you've got merch. You know what I'm saying? You've got an entire system set up. You take donations. I imagine you have somebody doing bookkeeping.
Yep.
So
CPA.
somebody wanted to take a look at what you have going on from a financial standpoint. you wouldn't have an issue with that, would you?
No, absolutely. We've applied for 501c3 status, so we're just waiting on our letter of determination now. But I have a small staff, my manager, my administrative assistant, some of our parents help. So we try to keep everything in house. All of those people who've been with me and supported the program since I've been running it out of my house, and since me and my boys were in my living room eating hot and ready pizzas and beanies and weenies. Those people who have been there since then, I try to take care of now. So before the extra boys, anybody even knew who we were, when I could even get people to donate us some water, those people who who are behind us, are being taken care of now.
Right. 'Cause, my whole thing is more about how people say what can't be done. And you and I both come from, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad school of thinking when it comes to doing for self. I am the first person, like, I don't, I'm not looking for any particular person outside of us to save us.
Right.
But I will point out hypocrisies when it's absolutely necessary because, everybody love Master Joe.
Yep.
And I tell folks all the time, like, let's be real here. Somebody wrote some laws, and somebody else, just did business upon laws which were written. And my whole thing is, why are we constantly waiting? In your opinion, let's want to know, why are we constantly waiting for a savior, King Randall?
I don't know. And this is what me and my boys were talking about today, because Booker T. Washington, oh my God, he's so intelligent. The things that he was speaking about in this book, and he was just like, listen, we were slaves, but you would think we had time to worry about what white folks was doing. No, we're going to go do for ourselves. Even he did talk about, some of those slaves, who were still trying to, take care of their masters and things like that after slavery was over, etc. But for the most part, he was explaining, like, look, I'm still here in America. I'm still going to make it happen with what I got. And he got up every day. He taught himself how to read and write. He went to work and went to school and all that, and he built an empire. And even just the first chapter of the book, he's explaining why, I guess, we don't need to be worried about, white folk all day. We need to be worried about what we can do. And that's something so beautiful. But, that's kind of, what I had, to talk about with Roland, because I think people had this misconception that I was saying we don't need government. It's not that I was saying we don't need government. I'm not waiting on the government. If they want to help, cool. But if they don't, I'm going to keep working. So
I'm over here like tilling the land right now. You know what I'm saying? If you come along, you come through, great. If not, we're going to be all right. We will get it figured out, because that's what we had to do.
Absolutely. And that was my conversation. We scream about, I talk about it all day. We love talking about white supremacy, but then ask the same people to fund our lives. They wanted to give us free food and free this. I'm like, well, you giving somebody the power to feed you, you're giving them the power to starve you too. And that's exactly what I said on Roland Martin. Same thing. Yep. You can't do that. Like, you have to do for yourself. Like, you have to at least, have your own systems in place, because if you don't, this white supremacy is going to take you over. You keep begging them for everything that you're trying to get. So, but I don't understand us in the waiting thing. But, I'm going to make sure I'm teaching my boys the complete opposite.
I think a lot of times, and I've met Roland Martin a couple of times in my life, and sometimes people, and I tell people all the time, King Randall, and I'm sure, like, I feel like, you're wise beyond your years, but there's certain things I don't think you've experienced just yet.
Absolutely.
But I will say that in my experience, there are people amongst us who love white adjacency more than they value Black self-sufficiency and Black growth, wealth, and progress. And, a lot of times you have people who get paid a great deal of money to say, oh, we know Joe. Joe knows us. And we some of us want to buck dance for massa. And, listen, if that's how you got to get it, that's how you got to get it. But the one thing that I will say is that we have a problem where we believe we can take everybody with us. And I tell this to, my clients, I tell this to, to my students. It's a situation where when you look in India, do you know where Indians put their trash?
Where?
Slums. Do you know do you know where indigenous American people put their trash?
Where?
Reservations. Do you know where white people put their trash?
Where?
Trailer park. You
Yeah.
know where black people put their trash?
Projects.
In our houses,
This
upstairs
is
in the
true.
room, and say that's just how he is. Oh, she gonna
Yep.
be all right. Don't let him touch little Stacy because you know he a little special. You
Yep.
know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, everybody got to come with us. That's why when you look at award shows, and I'm doing a contrast. I'm not comparing to say one is better than the other, but if you look at award shows, you don't see 75 people get up and rush the stage when Lady Gaga win an award.
Right.
Every rapper you think of, they got, you know, 1,000,001 people. Like, we love having people around who don't serve any purpose. If you don't serve any purpose, you don't deserve to be here.
You gotta go.
You
Yep.
gotta go. And I'm okay with separating those of us. Like, I'm a talented 10th type of dude. I'm cool with everybody not coming with us. Moses
Yep.
couldn't take everybody with him. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
that's just how I feel about it. What do your parents do for a living? How were you raised?
Oh man. Well, I can talk about how I was raised. So my mom, I credit my former stepdad and my current stepdad with, you know, how I am as a man, as well as my uncles, and the men that were in my neighborhood. I grew up on the call it the dark side of Albany. They call it the dark
Mhm.
side, the east side. You have the east side of Albany, but then you have the dark side of the east side. So that's
Mm.
where I stayed at. But my mom, you know, was adamant about having a nice house, so they used to call our house the white people house of the hood, just because it looked nice. But you know, that was because my former stepfather he did everything. He was a man's man. We built everything. We grew all of our own food in the backyard. We had about an
Mm.
acre, but we grew everything back there. We killed everything we ate. We went out and killed it. We caught it in a trap or whatever we had to do. We built all of our own sheds. We never bought a shed. We bought wood. We built our sheds from the ground. We ran electricity from the house. We had all types of pets. We had a dog kennel. We built all of our dog houses. We built all of our chicken pens. And we even grew our own seasoning. Like, we literally grew everything. To this day, and my mom still owns that house. In the backyard, we have about 20 fruit trees that we planted. We were
Mm.
always, you know, self-sufficient. I grew up like that. Even the men that were in the neighborhood, you know, everybody used to have competitions on growing food, you know, gardening. That was a thing in our neighborhood. And the guy down the street, he was drugs. He was a crackhead, but he taught us how to lay bricks. So everybody in the neighborhood had a brick mailbox because he showed everybody how to do it. And he'll charge you like $30 to build that brick mailbox, but it was perfect. He
Mhm.
taught us how to, you know, put up like sculptures on top of, you know, brick columns and stuff. He
Mhm.
taught us all that growing up. My former stepfather taught me how to weld. We built grills in the backyard. We made our washroom outside. So he was like a man's man. I grew up knowing how to do everything from him. My mom will tell you he was a great father, but a bad husband. But so they, you know, they separated. But she got married again when I was 15. I was
Mm.
living with my grandmother at the time, but you may know him. His name is Detective Andre Hardaway from the First 48 DeKalb
Yeah.
County. Yeah, I love him to death, but he's like more the business side of me. So that stand up on TV King that you see,
Right.
you know, he molded that. But the King that you see sometime, country boy King that wear the cowboy boots and the cowboy hat, I get that from my granddads and my uncles, you know, who grew up in the country raising horses and all of that stuff. So I have like the best of both worlds with how I was raised. My grandmother's a devout Christian. She's a minister. So I grew up in the church. I played the drums. So that's kind of like how I grew up. I had a nice little family. Had men in the neighborhood that helped raise me, and the other boys in our neighborhood. So you know, I had like a little village. But I tell people all the time, I'm not anything special. I'm just somebody who had a dad. And that's what I believe, you know, many of our boys are missing today.
Wow, that's so amazing, man. And I'm gonna tell you, people devalue the value of crackheads.
Yeah.
Listen, because here's the thing: when you're trying, and I
Yeah.
explain this to people all the time, they say, "Well, how did you go from being homeless to really making it happen?" And I'm like, when you are at rock bottom, the only other option is results.
Yep.
Crackheads are trying to get that next fix. So you'd be surprised. I knew a crackhead when I was in college that could fix anything wrong with a car with a hammer.
Mhm.
And he would go knock, 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 boom, start it. And
Yep.
sure enough, boom. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
that is the move, man. Like I love the can-do attitude about it, for lack of a better term. What's your biggest frustration right now?
Oh boy. I usually don't really get frustrated. I'm a kind of a glass half full type of guy. So everything that happens to me, I believe is in divine order. Literally everything that happens, I believe is in divine order. I just kind of keep it moving. But I guess if I had to say something, I would say, probably everything not happening as fast as I want it to. I know people are like, but it is happening fast. I'm like, but it's not happening fast enough
Fast
for
enough for
me.
me.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I'd rather, things be going extremely fast. I'd rather be, starting out of school and with big gyms and all that stuff tomorrow. But, it takes baby steps. And of course, some of my people in my hometown, giving me a little flack. But other than that,
Black.
yeah, yeah. Jesus taught us that. He said a prophet is with honor everywhere except his hometown.
Business of his own town. Some people all the time, prophet is not respected in his own home.
Yep,
You know,
absolutely.
in every religion. Same with Buddha, same with Muhammad. Muhammad's from Medina. He went to Mecca because Medina was like, "You crazy."
Yep,
And we saw
absolutely.
what happened when he came out of Mecca and went back to Medina. He
Yep,
wrecked shop.
yep,
And so
absolutely.
that's what it is. It's a get down or lay down situation.
Hmm.
What is your vision? Like, take me to where you see King Randall at 30.
Oh, who? Things have happened so fast for me. I couldn't tell you where I would be at 30 or with the program. I mean, I could see us, having branches across the country, and possibly across the world. I've had people offer for us to come to London and Australia and South
Mhm.
Africa. So I see that happening, in the future. But as far as 30, I can only do list as far as about 2 to 3 years, just because I have to base it off of where I am.
Mhm.
But at 30, I do have a little thing I have with myself where every birthday I need to be better than the year before. So if
Yes.
people thought year 21 was bad, year 22 is about to be interesting.
Right.
So if year 22 is going to be interesting, year 23 is going to be excellent.
Yeah.
That's, I believe you should be growing every year. You shouldn't be stagnant. I don't see how people, go birthday to birthday and still in the same position they was in last year. That makes no sense to me. So definitely, I will say, you're going to continue to see me grow. I do see the program growing. Having some of my boys that age out of the program go be administrators at their own campuses. Just things like that. I want to, have our boys homegrown and teaching, at our schools. And of course, I want to start our own type of fraternity for our boys, because all of them won't be going to college. And I
Right.
believe we still need to have a network for our boys to be able to join, to also keep them accountable as well, to keep them disciplined, and to make
Yes.
sure you also have bridges across the world, because some of our boys may go to Australia or
Yes.
China or whatever. And hey, you got a brother that went to the Extra Boys program over in China. Call him and he can hook you up over there. Or hey, I got a brother down in Australia. You call him. We building bridges. And that's something I think is extremely important, which is why I'm, constantly on the phone, constantly, talking to people, trying to
Right.
build bridges for my boys. Because I believe, in working for my grandchildren and working for their grandchildren.
Hmm.
That's something I believe is extremely important. So yeah, I mean, at 30, I couldn't tell you. I have no clue at 30, but maybe in 2 to 3 years, I definitely see the program grow into something extremely huge.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this to you at 43. If you had told me I'd be here, I'd have told you stupid, you crazy, and you bugging. I don't know what kind of special crack you're smoking, but like I think, and I'm big on speaking life over people. I think that the vision you have is infinitesimal compared to what God is going to bless you with. I
Say
think
that
that
word
you're
for me again.
infinitesimal.
I love words. I'm sorry, I had to get that one.
Infinitesimal, ridiculously small in the grand scheme of things.
Got it.
And I think that for you, like my last professional broadcast gig, I met a young brother in there, a couple of years younger than I am, like literally 2 years younger than I am, and we were the only, like basically the only two black things in the tech side of things. And he was like, "Yeah, bro, you ain't gonna be here long." I said, "What you mean? Like, this is great. They gave me this contract, got a nice office, and center." He says, "You too different. You want too much." He was like, bro, I promise you gonna look up and be like, I can't even believe I wasted 5 minutes in this place.
Yeah.
And I thought he was nuttier than Hooker spit King Randall. I was like, what is wrong with this dude?
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, you know, I make in a week what I made in a year at that radio station.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But sometimes your vision can only take you so far, and it's
Right.
the vision of other people. One more thing I wanted to ask you, because nobody ever really asks this, and if they have, I haven't heard an answer.
Mm-hmm.
What is your educational background? Like, what do you like? How many degrees do you have? What certifications do you have? That type of stuff.
Absolutely. I graduated high school in 2017 from Westover High School. I also graduated college before high school in 2017. I graduated college 3 months before high school with an associate's degree in culinary arts. So I do cook. I'm a professional chef, but I don't really cook as often because culinary school kind of took away my love for cooking because of the constant classes and 6 and 7 hour classes, but only because I was in the middle of high school at the time. So I was doing my high school classes as well as college, and it completely drained me. But I have many accolades from that. I'm Georgia Restaurant Association Student of the Year in 2016. I was captain of the culinary team in Westover High School. We won 2017. We got runner-up 2016. So I have a pretty extensive background in cooking. And then I went to the Marine Corps right out of high school. But that's the only highest degree I have is an associate's degree in culinary arts. That's about it. Yep.
Listen, man. Okay, what's your go-to dish?
Go-to dish? I don't really have one. See, I have to tell people.
You talk about you still think about them things, bro. You gotta listen. You gotta have two things, bro. You've got to have a signature dinner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta have a signature breakfast. You follow me? In that order.
So my breakfast is pretty. My mom loves my breakfast. I don't tell nobody my trick to my fluffy eggs. But my mom loves my breakfast. She'll tell you I make breakfast better than she does, even though I think different. But I think different. It don't taste like mama food. But also I love to make cinnamon rolls from scratch. I make those really good, straight from scratch, straight from the flour. And I make my own, cinnamon paste to go on the inside. That's my favorite kind of thing to make. But for the most part, I don't have like a just go-to dish. It's just whatever somebody asks me to make, and I just make it. So
I feel you on that. I love that. I love the fact that everything about you screams, I'm going to figure it out, and I don't give a damn what the standards are.
I'll tell you. Listen, when I first started this program, man, I'm telling you, people have no idea like where at rock bottom I was while doing this program. My little brother is 15 years old. We have different moms. We have the same father, but my little brother's 15. He looks up to me, and he's like my little protege. But he and I, when I was just trying to fund the program, I literally got on YouTube and learned how to cut hair. I got on YouTube and learned how to paint people's houses. Me and my little brother would go around town and paint houses, and I would cut hair and fix people's cars. And people would hit me up and say, "Hey, I need my car fixed." I say, "What kind of vehicle model you got? What need fixed?" I get on YouTube and learn how to do it, and I go right over there and fix it. And that's what I did. And I fixed people's starters, water pumps, everything. I was fixing everybody's car, but I had to do that just to pay bills, to feed my babies, and to feed my little brother, and to feed these boys and take them on field trips. That's what I did. I learned how to cut hair. I learned how to fix houses. And I remember our first house we ever painted. Me and my little brother painted this big old house. I remember because we were at Home Depot looking for some paint for the inside of somebody else's house. We was only painting the inside of the houses. And so this older lady came up to me. She said, "Hey, y'all paint houses?" I looked at her and I said, "Yeah, we paint houses." And she said, "Good, come on, look at my house. I need to, and come give me an estimate." I said, "Okay." She gave me an address and went by. I looked at it. Ain't never painted a house in my life. I said, "Oh yeah, we can take care of this, for this price." And I got home. Me and my little brother stayed up all night watching YouTube videos on how to paint a house. We went and rented a paint sprayer from our local, machine renting place called Bob White Rents. And we went and painted a house in a week. And we made our money, and we went and painted another house right after that, So, but we grinded. My little brother has watched me work, and he has the same work ethic that I do. He's a freshman, but he's the #1 trombone player in the city.
Love a good brass man.
the work ethic. He has a work ethic like no other because he's watched me do it. And I don't stop at nothing. I'm gonna make what I want to happen.
So you have biological children?
Yes, I have two children, King Randall the first and King William Randall.
Wow. And how old are they?
Baby King is 2 years old and baby William is 4 months.
Okay.
Same mama.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not judging. Okay. My Bible says be fruitful and multiply.
Absolutely.
Listen, I am not judging. King Randall was like, okay, no, listen. So you are a sheetrock laying, brick mailbox building, carburetor water pump starter fixing, school building, house painting, culinary artist who gets it in whenever he can.
Gets it in, yes, sir.
Listen, I love it. What is the thing that you'd love to do for recreation that does not involve the school or anybody? Like, what's the thing you do for yourself?
I like to listen to audiobooks. And I like to play video games, but not necessarily for the reason of having fun. I use video game time to think. When I'm playing my video games, I'm never like really yelling at the game or talking. Like I'm playing the game, but I'm thinking. I'm coming up with ideas. I love to drive. I love to drive to wherever I have to be. So I'm constantly on the road and I'm thinking all the time, listening to audiobooks. That's my little recreation. I love it to death. I don't smoke or drink. I will drink occasionally, like at an event or something, if they have like a champagne or a wine or something cool. But I don't smoke or drink like at all, really. But that's my little recreation. I love it. I love playing with Baby King. We go out to the park or something, or he'll sit by me playing video games, and that's my time to think. I love thinking. Just trying to figure out what can I do next, how can I get better, what can I do better for my boys. And today I was listening to, I had to go speak at a Rotary Club this morning, but I was listening to John Rockefeller's audio book, his autobiography. I think that's something extremely important for people to listen to, even if they may not like him.
Listen,
man,
you can learn
something.
a lot from everybody, man. I had a buddy tell me when I was in the South, he said, Dave, the one thing that you're going to have to learn to do is use your snakes. You know what I'm saying? You can learn from everybody. Like when I was in seminary, I learned very quickly that there's a lot of stuff you can learn from the way the devil moved. You know what I'm saying? Because there's lessons in what not to do. There's lessons in how to handle yourself up against adversity. There's so many things that people miss out on, and I think that's important. So, are you writing any books?
It's in the making. It'll come within 2 years' time. Of course, because of marketing and things like that. The only reason I'm writing a book is because people want to know about how I got to this position. So of course, but usually I wouldn't think about writing a book until like I'd lived a little life. But I actually think I do have a lot I can give the people, especially now that I have a little experience with working with children. And of course, I don't consider myself an adult till I turn 25. I tell my boys the same thing. The decision-making part of my brain is not developed until 25. So I have a big circle of elders, that I consult, in regards to, my decision-making. But aside from that, I just try to make sure all of it's taken care of. But as far as the book, it'll come within 2 years' time. It'll be here.
I'm here for it, bro. Like, I can't tell you how much I have looked forward to this. I can't tell you how much you have exceeded my expectations. I can't tell you, as one black man that comes from a long line of educators. Like my uncle worked was a professor at MIT. My mother was a 2-time Teacher of the Year finalist. My grandmother was a teacher. My stepfather was a teacher. I come from a long line of educators. And I love how you just fly in the face of all of that tradition. And you're doing it for us in a way that not only is helpful, but is healthy, and we respond to it. And then you're putting things in our young men that nobody can take from them. Because once you got that welding skill, once you got that painting skill, once you know how to lay that sheetrock, whatever it is, no one can take that from you. And like, people will walk around with skills. It used to be a requirement. If you look at, the New Testament, it was a requirement for people to have a skill. And as a father, it's the first thing you're supposed to do to teach your son, their trade. That's why
Baby King is 2 years old and he can just about guide you through changes and breaks. Yep. Baby King does not play.
Listen, I just feel like one of these days you better listen. We're gonna go ahead and drop it. Like Baby King, show him how to drop that transmission. He gonna be sitting up there in a full ass pull up talking about, let me just drop this transmission real quick.
Yeah.
Put it on the Yo,
Oh
like
man,
Triple
Baby
A ain't
King
getting no
he's
business.
intelligent.
I
I
love it.
love him to death, man. Baby King, he's on the solar system right now, and my mom's working on addition with him. But he's already full sentences. He's been potty trained since he's one. He's talking, he's walking. I mean, he got my whole face. So, but yeah, he's an awesome kid. I love him to death.
Hmm. I love it, man. I'm so proud of you, bro. Like, I don't think you
Thank you.
understand because I didn't see anybody when I was your age that was, hungry like me, man. Like your hunger, your desire to get it done. You're not making excuses. You're not looking for white daddy. You ain't worried about the critics. You put Roland Martin in his place respectfully. And like, bro, I'm here for you, man. Especially the fact that you're doing it. Literally, people say, "I get it out the mud." Like, no, like you literally getting it out the mud, man. And Georgia mud's a different type of mud. I'm gonna tell you that straight up and down. I haven't lived there.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, they don't know about that
They,
Tarrant County red clay.
they don't
Oh
know nothing
my
about that
goodness.
red clay. It get everywhere.
It get everywhere,
You be
dog,
like,
man.
why is it?
Man,
It's
that
that
red
clay.
clay will get
Oh,
everywhere, dog. It be all in the trunk. That's why I got these leather
oh,
mats in my truck, dog. Oh my God, that clay get everywhere, man. My boots are literally colored with clay. My cowboy boots,
right.
man.
Yeah. Yeah, leave them things outside. You bring them in the house, it's over with, man.
It's
But
over with.
listen, tell people where they can donate. Tell people what you need, like all that good information, bro, because I want to make sure that people are supporting you. I'm a donor. I feel like everybody who cares about people who look like us, especially the future of our society, is prevalent upon the growth and development of our young men. So tell them how they can get involved, how they can donate, what you need the whole nine. It's your time, bro.
Absolutely. What I always tell people, the biggest way they can help with the boys is teaching them how to do something. Before donating, etc. My biggest thing is what can you teach our boys if you can teach them something. If we can set something up virtually, etc. Visit our website at theexforboys.org and go to contact us, and we'll reach out to our staff and we'll figure out what we can do to get you teaching our boys. Also, I'm working on building up our library. People have been sending books. So as many books as you can think of to send, please send them so I can get this library built up for our boys. I'm over here in this neighborhood because I'm teaching them how to read and they're enjoying it. So I want to get them, checking out books and giving them incentives to read. And become better readers so that we can become better communicators. Also, you can donate at the xforboys.org. That's THE, the letter X, FORBOYS.org. It should be right here under my name, right
Mhm.
here beside my name. And there you can go to see how to donate. Our next few events that we'll be doing. You can go see some of our videos, some of our pictures of the things that we've worked on, all of our workshops, field trips, you name it. Everything is there on the website. And you can follow me at New Emerging King on all social media, from LinkedIn to Snapchat to TikTok to whatever. It's all New Emerging King.
Mhm. Yeah, man. Listen, as far as sales, digital marketing, and how to build an audience, bro, I'm happy to come teach whatever. Like
Let's
you,
do
you
it.
got me. And then I'll send you some of my books too, man, on sales, marketing, growth development, all that good stuff. Because bro, I had to go out here and write the stuff that I needed. I feel like I'm speaking the future me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes, sir.
you're gonna need this later.
Absolutely. And I
So,
actually plan to write like some type of little guide for teenage boys from me. Because my boys are always interested in, how I got things, and they look up to me. So I would rather just give them something like when they graduate school and just be like, here, take this with you. If you don't ever talk to me again, if you never come back or call me back, take this. And you can, look at this and, answer all your questions, or, just look back to it for guidance, to remember some of the things that you possibly, may have forgotten.
absolutely. So like everybody's loving you, bro. Like we're all rooting for you. Thank you for making sure that you put our boys first. Thank you for not being a hater. Thank you for being a credit to the race. Like I'm proud of you. I only feel like you're gonna
Thank
go
you.
up from here, man. So yeah, everybody, that's a show. Thanks so much for being here. Until next time, get out of your feelings and into your business.